Bonus episode. Bonus episode. Welcome to a random mini-sode of the Daily Dividends podcast. I am riding solo today. Super producer Dan here for you. And we have a very special guest on this little mini-sode here. Prediction Strike co-founder, CEO, big man on campus, Devin Hurd. How are you, Dev?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Dan. Also just thanks to the general Daily Dividend squad, Marcus and Nick. You guys have done an amazing job. I love listening to it all the time. I really do.
I appreciate that. You and the other three listeners are really giving us some true support. So the reason we have you on here is because we have a really cool announcement coming up for this little summer season here. I'm just going to get out of the way. Dev, why don't you talk about what's happening with Prediction Strike over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, really a lot's happening over the next couple weeks. First of all, we have a special kind of game going on, which is going to be super exciting. As all of you know, Game of Thrones, the series finale is going to start. Yes, on April, let me see, 14th. Someone fact check that, but yes, April 14th. And so we figured, look, everyone watches Game of Thrones. In some ways, it's become a sport now. So we're running a special game for Game of Thrones. So we're super excited about that. With a slightly modified format, but we can get to that later. And then the other big thing is, V2 designs are coming. Winter is coming. V2 is coming. We're excited. We're pumped. This is as good as it gets, right?
That sounds awesome, dude. So talk to me a little bit more about this GOT thing, because I know I've been itching for 2 years for this show to come back, and there's a pretty cool thing that Prediction Strike is doing. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the big thing was, like you said, it's been 2 years. We've spent 2 years talking about it, getting our friends to finally watch it, all the friends who held out, about who's going to win the Iron Throne. So we said, all right, this is Prediction Strike, so what do we do for this? This is a national event as much as any other sport is. So the format we kind of came to was you can buy and sell shares of individual characters and bid on who's going to win the Iron Throne. But the slight difference here is because this is really a finite event and at some point we will know the winner, you will receive $1 per share that you have of the character who ultimately sits on the Iron Throne at the end of the series. And so share prices will still move according to supply and demand slightly, but you will see kind of your big weekly update that you're used to seeing on Mondays as the Vegas odds shift. So if a character gets killed off, that money gets swept, and as odds change, you will see your share prices change.
So the incentive with possibly buying in on the cheaper players is what if the payout's the same?
So it would be, say I want to say the lowest is 10 cents. And so say you spend 10 cents to buy kind of one share of, I believe the cheapest is that none of the listed characters win the Iron Throne. So you pay 10 cents, you make $1 per 10 cents. So you've made 90 cents on the dollar for those characters. That's kind of as good as it gets. In terms of kind of short-term money gains, that's great.
Got you. So you get a little bit more of an incentive to go for the cheaper guys because you get a better return on your investment.
Exactly.
This all sounds pretty cool. I'm looking at it right now. So of the list that we have up on Prediction Strike right now, you are right. So none of the above is 9 cents a share. So really, it's 91 cents on the dollar. Most expensive is Brandon Stark.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I find that as kind of a curveball. Explain yourself, please.
Definitely. I really pulled these straight down from the Vegas odds, modified that into kind of a probability, which modifies to a share price relative to $1. Math, blah, blah, blah. And I was curious about this too. I even listened to a podcast where they were trying to make sense of it. And people don't know. I think the general consensus is that Bran is not in a lot of danger. He's not the person you see going out to fight. And I think a lot of the characters, you can just kind of see them dying. Look, Arya loves to fight. Cersei, I don't know. To me, Cersei's just gone. That's what I think.
I think everybody wants Cersei gone. That's the issue.
Yeah,
she's gotten on too many people's bad sides, but I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, a lot of them have so many enemies. Who else do we have up there? Jon Snow. I think Jon Snow's a strong candidate, to be honest. Dany even, but you have other people on there like Tyrion. Tyrion and Jaime, do you really see either of them being the king of all of Westeros? I think that might be a stretch.
I mean, personally, if we're gonna go for a little like hot take-itude right here, and you can't hear this, Devin, but I'm putting on my Onion Strike music, whatever that we have to rebrand because we'll get sued for copyright. Honestly, Daenerys Targaryen, she's dying. I'm sorry, Dany's dying. She's gotten way too power hungry over the past couple seasons, and if it wasn't for a very strategic rebranding of the Dothraki army, she probably would have already been gone.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's just personally how I feel. But I don't want to see it happen. I'm not rooting for it, but I'm like, she just has been playing with too much fire. She has been pissing too many people off. I feel like Jon Snow is too predictable, which is exactly why it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still convinced the only reason they brought him back is because people were too pissed when they killed him.
I mean, I think he...
Spoiler alert, if you haven't caught up to season 6 yet.
Yeah, also don't listen to this podcast if you haven't caught up. Why haven't you caught up? Anyway, that's your own fault at this point. Not to victim blame, but that's your own fault. But I'm with you, right? Dany has made everyone angry. Probably the entire country of Westeros. People don't like it when you show up and start taking things over. That does not make people happy. I think Dany's made a lot of people angry. So is Cersei. So I don't even know if people at Westeros are happy with any ruler. Jon Snow, I agree. He's like that nice guy he's that fan favorite kind of like classic hero guy. But I don't think that's the person who wins in the Game of Thrones. I think it has to be someone a little more cunning and a little more ruthless than that.
Gotcha. No, I totally agree. Here's a thing. Night King is only 18 cents per share, and mind you, that's like of your list here. That's like sixth or fifth, or like tied for fifth. But but that's less than half of the top bid. So according to the Vegas odds or whatever your odds are, you really don't think the White Walkers are going to survive. You think that the humans are going to win.
Yeah, which I think was interesting, honestly. If you had asked me to set these odds, I would have had the Night King probably around 35 cents, to be honest. I saw the odds at much higher, but I think it's people. So one, Vegas odds are also reactive to like individuals. So I think a lot of people don't literally want the Night King to win. And I also think it's a factor of it almost seems a little bit too convenient. We spent 8. So what will this have been? This is season 8 and year 10 ?
Something like that.
Yeah. Something like that, to like just see like the evil zombies kind of take over. I think that might be a little bit cheesy. I do see the Night King making a serious run. Don't get me wrong. I think some main characters are going to lose to the Night King.
That penultimate episode is going to be epic.
Yes.
That penultimate episode is where everyone's going to die but one person, and then the last episode is just going to be plot resolution.
That's exact. I'm so with you. And I don't think the Night King dies until the penultimate episode. And I do think the Night King takes out probably 2 or 3 characters above him, to be honest. But I just don't see him making it, in my opinion.
That's a nice little side bet opportunities, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
All right, couple more questions I want to ask you before I let you go. If you had to pick somebody, not who you want to take the throne, who you think is going to, if you had to put your best dollar on somebody, who do you think it would be?
My best dollar, I hate to say this, the only person on this planet who is worse as an individual than Kevin Durant, but has more fans than Kevin Durant, Sansa Stark. And here we go.
Really?
Sansa has more stands than KD.
I'm surprised by that. Now, because here's the thing. So, my girlfriend and I have been catching up. I'm already caught up. She's catching up. So, so you can yell at her with your previous statement. But she.
Can I pick the Bills?
So we've been watching season 6 together, and season 6 is right around that turning point where I agree with you. Sansa was a little bitch for the first 5 seasons, and I hated her. But once season 6 happens and she's reunited with Jon Snow, I'm like, oh, this is a badass bitch. And I think I'm actually grown very fond of her over the past 2 seasons.
Yep.
So I don't know.
I'm with you. I think momentum carries Sansa. I think she finally figured out like the quote unquote Game of Thrones right around season 6 when her marriage to Ramsay was absolutely tragic. I've honestly been rewatching the show, and you can kind of glimmer when Sansa kind of starts to get things, but once she's trapped with Ramsay is when you're like, one, this is absolutely the worst thing to happen to an individual, and two, she's starting to figure it out. The whole thing that happens with her, Arya, and Littlefinger, and what is that, season 7, maybe I want to say towards the second half of the season, that's a quick glimpse and like, oh, she gets it. And so to me, I think it's almost, if Sansa's life is this bad for 8 seasons, I don't know what to do. I think she's got to make some sort of power play and come up in the end. I do.
I agree. No, I personally, if I'm going to put money, I'm split. I'm the dude at the blackjack table that's like splitting the pairs here. I'm thinking either Sansa or, and this is more of a homer pick, but like I want Tyrion to do it.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
my favorite character.
But if you murder your own father while he's taking a shit with a crossbow, you deserve to be king of all of the land.
Yes.
There's too much of a payoff there.
I mean, yeah, I think Tyrion is one of the few characters throughout the show who, from day one, gets it. Tyrion understands the game. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Tyrion and Cersei are the two who get it. Cersei's get it with power. Cersei has more power than Tyrion. Then I think Varys and Littlefinger get it, and they're always trying to kind of make that play for power, but never quite have it. But right from the beginning, you see Tyrion and Cersei just scheming, wheeling, dealing, and like, you're like, wow, these are badass characters.
Yeah, I agree. All right, last thing before I let you go. Randall Cobb to the Cowboys. How do you feel? You knew I had to slip a Cowboys thing in there for you.
Yeah, I always got to bring up the Cowboys. I mean, look, Randall Cobb, he's like a mid to upper mid-tier wide receiver. And the crazy thing about the Cowboys is that's an upgrade. So I will take it. The Cowboys have had terrible wide receiver help until Amari Cooper got there week 8, ? Someone fact check, but somewhere in there, like midway through the season, terrible wide receivers. Now we've got Amari Cooper. I think he's a just sub like that. You've got that, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones kind of crazy bracket. I put Amari Cooper kind of in that next bracket. You've got that type of talent. Finally, we have a solid option too. So I will take it. It's Dan, we had texted about this. It's sad to see Cole Beasley go. Cole Beasley was never that great of a receiver, but he was sneakily super useful. Well, I'm hoping to get. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say he was the security blanket. But the good thing is, you just unretired literally like Hall of Fame security blanket in Jason Witten.
Yes.
So as much as I'm gonna be sad to see Cole Beasley go, because anytime you lose a 5'6" white guy who can literally yam it, at least if you're gonna replace him with somebody, I'd rather it be Jason Witten. So
I'm with you. I also think Jason Witten brings a lot of leadership and clearly experience to that team. I'm interested to see like the role he takes on, and also what physical shape he comes back in. I mean, he took a year off. I think a lot of people are like, he's getting old, he's out of shape. To me, if you take a year off from pro football, your body's going to rehab. So I think Jason Witten actually comes back probably better than he was his last probably 2-ish season, something like that. And it just brings a lot of leadership.
I hope so, man. I really do. This needs to be the year. Anyway, I'm done. I'm off my Cowboys bandwagon. I'm off my shit. All right. So thank you so much, Devin. Any last things you want to plug before we send the audience on their merry way?
Look, I just want to thank you all. I mean, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Nick, to the Daily Dividend Squad. First off, and thank you to all our listeners and our users. I mean, you're the ones who even got us here to get to the point where we can even get a V2 and it even makes sense. So I promise you big things are coming. We have designs coming out. I mean, this is going to be a big part of your sports experience going forward too. So just stick with us a little bit more, and I promise you it'll be worth it.
Big things are coming, and winter is coming. Dun, 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 dun. All right, check out the Game of Thrones section of the Prediction Strike website. Subscribe to the Daily Dividends podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, which is finally a thing. Check us out on YouTube. Devin, thank you so much for joining us. Hit it.
Thanks, Dan.